Welcome to the Mortgage Broker Podcast, tailor-made for Canadian mortgage industry professionals. Proudly presented by A Better Way Mortgage Group, this podcast is your trusted source for insider insights, market updates, and strategies to elevate your career in the ever-evolving world of mortgage brokering. Whether you're a seasoned broker with A Better Way Mortgage Group or an industry enthusiast looking to stay ahead, our episodes are designed to empower you with the knowledge and tools you need to excel in the Canadian mortgage space. I'm curious to see our borrower profiles changing within your portfolio. And largely when private lending really started to take off, it was a self-employed client, maybe credit was challenged. Are you seeing that change, and what are those changes starting to look like?
Yeah, so our profile it's similar. However, the struggle with mortgage payments is really coming through, right? So, if you take a $900,000 private mortgage a year ago, you're at 10%. Yeah, you can see some challenges if something's happened in their life. Now, that's why we're a fairly conservative lender too, and the equity is in the home. So how do we help them get to a position of either selling or moving through this? But overall, we're still seeing the self-employed. The one other piece is developers right now too, is a big trend. So cash flow, I think, is a little tight on the developer side. With sales low, you see a lot of inquiries from builders, developers trying to get through that one house that's left in a subdivision or the few houses that aren't selling, right?
Right. That's interesting. So those would be homes that are complete that they just can't sell, because you guys don't really play in the construction space, right?
We do not.
Yeah, that's interesting. It makes a lot of sense. And, just as a broker, anyone with those types of contacts, that could be a good solution to, provide some flexibility for, potential business.
The developer side, but on resale, pre-sales. I know Ontario, Toronto specifically has a big issue with values coming in well under purchase price. Yes. We're starting to see more and more of that in BC. Are you guys seeing a lot of inquiries because of that?
Yes, the condo market specifically is very challenging. So you could probably see that coming a little beforehand as far as number of listings. I was actually in Toronto and I just walked the streets where all the condos are down there. And then I saw these signs and I looked at the wall and I'm like, okay. And then what I noticed, and this is just real life stuff versus data, is there was nobody walking around. And it was like a Friday night downtown Toronto. And I'm like, this is a little weird. I felt differently before when I was down here. But you have to back that up with data for sure. But for us, being a short-term lender, we will look at these things, but at a lower loan to value, right? Yeah. So, because it's going to take longer to sell. It's going to cost us more to sell if something happened and they didn't pay, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of, rolls into my next question, is just guidelines tightening. That's an example of, okay, maybe we used to do 70% loan to value, but, it's something a lot lower now on that type of a product. I'm assuming that's the case. And where else do you look to potentially tighten guidelines or make changes like that?
We'll look for a marketable property. So what's the biggest pool of people that would buy that property? When those number of people or a certain segment disappear, then we'll probably tighten some guidelines a bit. Now, we're not first to jump back in and time the market. However, we're typically somebody who will understand the data to squeeze it a little bit in the beginning. Our guidelines are fairly simple. So, we just cut back on loan to value when we're struggling with a certain segment.
Yeah,
right?
Fair.
Yeah.
And, it kind of leads me in my next piece is just around exit strategies. When we first started brokering and doing a lot of private lending, it was the lender just wanted to know, what's the appraisal, where's the loan to value, and how are we getting our money back? Do you still put a significant emphasis on exit strategy, or is there more that you're looking at now? Considering that this deal might renew and, what is the ability to actually make the payments?
You nailed it right there. So we don't calculate any debt servicing, but the story needs to make sense and how are they going to make these payments?
Yeah.
To be honest, it's in every broker course as well, as making sure people can cash flow this mortgage, and not having a job or saying future potential to get a job sometimes isn't it. And we may pass on some of those in this type of market, right? Because we know we're just pushing a problem a year out.
Yeah.
Right.
We've talked about this a lot, but back in the day, it quite literally was send in an app, bureaus, appraisal, and here's your approval, and it funds, right?
Correct.
Now, brokers need to start thinking, obviously you don't need to go as deep paperwork wise as a conventional deal, but you need to get the same amount of information about the clients, about the property, about the exit, about the money that they have accessible to make payments, right? And if you're not doing that due diligence and you're just submitting files to privates with bare information, I can only imagine that's getting pushed to the top of the pile, or you're just not going to fund it because you don't want to spend the time asking 15 questions when another broker's giving you a clean deal with all the information up front.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't have much else to add to that because that's the ideal world. Now, having a consistent story versus just letting us know what you think about the borrower when we ask a question in the beginning is key, right? Especially what do they do for work? How do they cash flow? This doesn't match, right? The basics of it is you could do a Google search of a borrower, and a lot of times you find out where they work. Yeah. And if it doesn't match with an application, well, of course, underwriting's going to have a question. They're there to protect our investors, right? So.
Thank you for tuning in. If you found value in this show, please subscribe to our channel on your preferred platform. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Your support is incredibly appreciated. We also welcome your reviews and feedback, which are crucial in helping us deliver outstanding educational content. Feel free to share your thoughts. A 5-star review would be fantastic if you think we earned it. Lastly, a vital announcement about Backpack Buddies, our chosen charity for 2025. This remarkable organization addresses a hidden hunger issue many are unaware of in British Columbia. While school districts provide meals during school hours, numerous children face food scarcity at home, particularly during the weekends. Backpack Buddy steps in to support these vulnerable children, ensuring they have easy-to-prepare, familiar food for weekends. This is achieved through collaborations with schools and an extensive distribution network. Your contribution can make a significant difference. With just $20, you can give a child in need a food bag from Backpack Buddies filled with enough meals and snacks to sustain them over the weekend and more. Once again, thank you for listening, and see you on the next one.